All right, we are back with another bonus episode. We are taking a deep dive into the Miami Dolphins before training camp starts. We got Nick, we got Jose. Let's get to it. All right, boys, we're back. So today we are talking all things Miami Dolphins going into uh, the training camp. That I believe we start in early August, or I think it starts late July, but getting into early August. I want to talk about going right into the new era of the Dolphins, and also looking back a little bit. Before we get into anything specific, I'm curious from each of you, like what do you think about this new era of the Dolphins? What are some of your expectations? Just brief expectations, no win loss or anything like that, but just what are you looking forward to? And Nick, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm looking for, more of a fresh beginning here. We had those really cool years in 2022, 2023 under Mike McDaniel with that electrifying offense and those electrifying players, and well, I know we traded everybody, we cleaned house in a way. It's kind of nice to get a little bit of a fresh start, because after those kind of seasons, they still never won a playoff game since 2020. And we just kind of stalled. We never really won the big game in a sense as well. We never really beat good teams besides Dallas that one year on Christmas Eve. And I guess Buffalo as well. I think week 3 in 2022. But nevertheless, last year it was a down year for us. Tyreek got hurt in that Jets game. Tua was just not good. He got benched. McDaniel wasn't really that leader in the locker room. And again, I'm a big Mike McDaniel guy, which I'm sure we'll get into the coaching situation later. But I'm looking forward to a fresh start. Jeff Hafley, leader of men style coach, new quarterback, physically gifted. Um, I'm looking forward to that in a sense. I know it's going to be a long process with the new management and rebuilding the roster. But there is a lot of hopeful. We still got some young stars. And I really believe in Malik Willis, but we got Devon Achane still here, and then Jordan Brooks is still leading us on defense as well. So we still have kind of those peak spots there, um, and then Brew as well, who we extended. So, but nevertheless, yeah, looking forward to kind of a fresh start in a way. I think this we really needed it, and we got to win a playoff game eventually. So.
Please, man. Jose.
Uh, with this change of coaching staff and I mean this is the first time we go through basically an entire clean house, general manager uh along with the coach, and the coach brings everyone. Glad we got to keep some faces. Um I'm not the biggest fan of the offense coordinator, you know, cool. He'll do. Um I am I as both of you have been a Dolphin fan for my entire life. I've seen the Dolphins back when they had Marino in the 90s. I got to see a little bit of that. The little bit that I remember. And one thing that I can say from those teams that you can you can't even compare to what we just saw was the level of physicality, the competitiveness, the I'm going to die on that field for this team. And I guess you bring in Mike McDaniel, man. The guy's a genius. I'm not gonna rank on him. You know, he's a good play caller, but he's not a leader of men. And when you're not a leader of men, you have all these personalities like Tyreek Hill. Actually, the best example is Tyreek Hill, who will come here and will basically, I make $70 million and I'm gonna tell you what to do. And the same thing went with Jalen Ramsey, and basically the whole departure of everyone was almost everybody that was not on that, hey, we're here to win, not we're here to go to South Beach or go to Hard Rock. the casino, not the stadium, the beach, and have a good time. Obviously, Miami's very it's very hard to kind of just focus because you got all these amenities, and I I I think all that started to fit in to the team and even started to affect Tua as well. You could even see from like 2021 or 2020 when he was like a rookie and just, starting off to who he was when he left, completely different person. Um, very standoffish.
Yeah,
Although I am a fan of, standoffish Tua, like, but not in the sense of how he was this year or last year.
especially to the media. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Very
you
defensive,
know,
I think. He was very defensive.
yes, I'm more of the, hey, you don't have an arm. Who cares? I don't need it. I gotta pass this guy a ball. He's 10 yards away. I got enough of an arm for that. And not, well, we lost. Well, this guy's not showing up to meetings. Like, have some accountability, dude. You make $220 million. If anyone's gonna point fingers, point it at yourself first. And I'm excited to see what this new, especially with Jeff Hafley, man. I love the guy. I can't wait to see what he brings, and just I could see the culture change already. These guys they're they're out there for each other, not for themselves. And I'm Alan knows me, man. I'm always not super optimistic, but I'm also optimistic.
And
So I'm kind of like,
I'd like
I
to
don't know.
consider myself the opposite. I'm definitely an
He's way more optimistic than me, man.
I'm definitely an optimist, but this is the way that I see it. Going into the off season, with the big changes happened, right? We fired Chris Greer in the middle of the season.
Hmm.
Mike McDaniel got fired, and I think that was the right move. I'm a Mike McDaniel fan. I don't think he was ready to be a head coach. I think next time he's a head coach, again, you'll learn your lessons. I think hiring a first time head coach isn't always the best idea because naturally the first time you're a head coach isn't going to be a successful route. Now, you can
Hmm.
say that about Jeff Hafley, but he was the head coach for Boston College. So even though it wasn't in the NFL, he's been a head coach before. So he kind of has an idea of what to expect, or he's learned his lessons already. Going into the offseason, obviously, there was a few big name head coaches that were available, like John Harbaugh. And obviously, my mind went there, right? Jeff Hafley, I didn't really know much about him. So I had kind of taken him off. Like, I don't want to see that. But when we hired him, obviously not knowing anything about him, being open to it, listening to his press conference, and instantly I was like, okay, I think we got a guy here because he speaks so well, and maybe he can be the best speaker and he could be the best motivator. We go out, we don't win any games, and he gets fired. But we can only go based on what we know right now, and everything that I've seen so far excites me. You know, I think that having to release all the players that we released, like Bradley Chubb, and getting rid. It's all good, brother. Yeah, because I think sometimes even though it starts cutting out, the thing will get it fixed. Appreciate you, Nick. Um, I believe that doing the rebuild that we did is ultimately going to be helpful for us. Maybe not this year as far as winning, but building the culture that we need to build. So I'm curious, Nick. What patience do you think the Dolphins fans should realistically have? Like, what should we be expecting right now?
I mean, it's not going to be a good year this year. Everybody's got us ranked at the bottom of the polls here. Um, we have to have patience for at least 2 years. That's what it's going to be. We got a rookie head coach who, I know he coached in college, but it's going to be learning development. We have no receivers basically. We got a lot of different. We have no pass catchers there, and I disagree with that. I think they should have gotten at least somebody decent. A free agent like a Debo Samuel type guy. I know it doesn't really make sense, but you got Malik Willis here, who you're trying to get a good evaluation with him as your franchise quarterback, and he doesn't really have any targets. But I assume they're just going to be running the ball the entire season. Um, and like Jose said, I'm not a big fan of our OC either. I know we promoted within, and so I feel like it's kind of the same scheme that we're probably gonna run that we ran with McDaniel, which I actually, a hot take here. I don't think McDaniel should have been fired at all. I actually really disagreed with the move. I think that he should have been giving more time because the roster last year just wasn't good. A lot of people went down, and I feel like he didn't really have much to work with. Tua being so limited. So, really wish we kept him, but nevertheless, I mean, we have to be patient again. And I know it's so hard to say that since we've been patient for 25, 26 years.
Long time.
Um, it is very difficult. And I know you guys have experienced a lot more losses than I have, being younger. But I've had my fair share, man. I really started getting into these guys in 2014, 2013. And, it's only been a little over 10 years of me watching, but it's been miserable. I mean, I only made the playoffs three times, first round exits in all three of them. No home games either in those playoff games, and we have to be patient. There's no other way to do it. Like, this is another rebuild, and there was no other way to do it because Chris Greer basically self-destructed the roster. So, bringing in Sully, and it brings optimism. I do like Sully. I think he's going to do a good job. So I think at least a couple years we got to be patient. This year's not going to be great. I don't think we're going to finish as bad as people are saying, but we're not going to be good. Next year, I think we come up a little bit more, and then the year after, I think we maybe start to make a little bit of a push.
Yeah, I think that's realistic. I do disagree with the. I get it. As far as the receivers go, the only thing that I go back to is the Drake May's rookie year. I remember Drake May had no receivers, and even then, you still saw something in him. Like, oh, there's potential here. But I also understand that, like,
Yeah.
hey, he needs to throw the ball to somebody. But I think you can give and take that. Jose, what will Dolphins football be known for in 3 years from now under Jeff Hafley? And for it to be considered successful. And I think we can talk about the physicality, which I think it's important. And you said that earlier. To me, that's one big thing. But what do you think?
Well, it's so hard to predict, because we can go this year and Malik Willis flops, and we end up drafting a quarterback in the first round this coming year, and that right there is going to set us back even more because now you got to develop that guy. 3 years from now, man, uh,
It has to be a playoff win.
an optimistic view would be maybe a wild card entry. Um,
Not a win in 3 years? I don't know if I.
I'm hoping for a win.
Thanks.
I'm hoping for a win. I think that would be the greatest success. Um, as far as the culture change, we're already seeing it. That's like you said, that's a massive part of it. So, man, it's all gonna be, how this team reacts, not just this year, but next year. And I think next year we'll have a better outlook of what year three is gonna be.
I mean, I think so as well, just because, again, half our salary cap isn't going to be to players that aren't on the team anymore.
Hmm.
I think we've been restrained. I like what Solly has done as far as, again, bringing in those 1 year rentals. It's what to me, and
Right.
I heard Omar Kelly say this in a podcast. I need more players to hit than we have wins. So that means if we end the year with 5 wins, I need at least 6, 7 players,
I
including.
think that would be a success for this year.
The perfect scenario is that Malik Willis plays really well, and we have one of the worst records in the league, so we can get Jeremiah Smith.
And that goes into my next point here. Let's talk some Malik Willis. Do you think he becomes a long term answer, or is he's just keeping the seat warm? Because I feel I'm like 70-30 that he becomes the guy, and 30%, listen, 2027 draft is a big draft, and we might need to pull the trigger. But even if he has a good year, I can still see us getting a quarterback in the third round, maybe. If he has a great year. If he doesn't have a good year, then we might have to draft early. But what do you think, Nick?
I wish with the Waddle trade, man, I wish we got a first next year. I know that they wanted their first this year and it was a late first, but I mean next year's class is so loaded. But to be fair, in this draft there was a lot of back end talent, so that's how we know we got Chris Johnson. But nevertheless, I do like Malik Willis, and I do see the concern though because he's only started a few games. But I think it's such a breath of fresh air regarding like talent compared to Tua. I know Tua was so accurate and whatever. And he did a great job when he had his receivers, but he is so fast. He won't get sacked too much.
Got a
Now,
gun too,
he
man.
got a gun. He played
Got a
really
big
well in
arm.
Green Bay. His few starts there, and I think he's so athletically gifted that he's just a breath of fresh air, and I think he can be really good. Um, I think if you give him the actual chance, you give him the right offense, he will be a good player. He's a good leader too, man. I see
Yes, he is.
people are saying that he has been really good at camp in June. Um, I think he could be our long term answer. I really think I'm really on the train with him, and I'm glad they signed him. I know they gave him a lot of money, but getting a quarterback just helps you so much because then you can focus on the draft and getting other things. And I know it's a loaded draft class. They cannot mess this class up. They've
No.
had some questionable decisions in the draft a few months ago, which I was like, and
Yeah.
it starts in the first round with the whole Proctor situation. But nevertheless, I do like Willis. I really want Jeremiah Smith, and I wish we got Caleb Downs last year, but
Okay, so that
that
was my question. I was going to ask you, who did you want?
I
Uh,
really wanted Caleb Downs. He is a generational safety. Ohio State Buckeye. Usually those guys pan out pretty well in the league.
yeah.
Um, but I like Proctor. Things I do like Caden Proctor a lot. Now, if Downs wasn't there, I would have liked him. I know people want a Ruben Bain, the Miami guy, but I really wanted Caleb Downs because imagine you get him and then you get Jeremiah Smith next year. And you get two superstars that you drafted in the last two
Yeah.
years. But they
Yeah.
wanted to start within the trenches, which I understand. But we already have a decent offensive line because you already got Pat Paul over there. You already have Aaron Brewer at center. You have Savaya Naya here developing in the guard. You have Austin Jackson. I know he can't stay healthy, but you have him right tackle. They're playing Proctor at left guard now. Like he's not even play tackle. So what do we like? What are we doing? I'm sure we could have had we could have had someone else like play guard. Um, Again, I do like Proctor, I really do. I think he could be a generational talent, but the fact that Downs was there and it fell perfectly to us really pissed me off. Um, but yeah, no, I think Willis, to answer your question, Ali, I think Willis can be really good for us. I think people got to give him a chance, and people are. And I think that he'll have a decent. I hope he'll have a decent season this year because if no one's open, he can just fly. So he'll just start running on
Hmm.
the ground, keep it on the ground. And then let's just get in a prime position to get Jeremiah Smith, man. He would be a generational receiver for us and a position that we are extremely lacking in.
And
Yes.
As far as Caleb Down goes, like of course he goes to the Cowboys. Like if there's one thing the Cowboys know how to do well is draft first rounders, and I think they got another one there. They don't
Sure.
do everything well, but man, they know how to draft first rounders.
They sure
Um,
do. They sure do.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah.
and to combat you guys about the Bobby Slowick offense, I when we hired him, I also wasn't excited because I wanted some change. Um, the one thing that I see the positive side of is again, he comes from the Kyle Shanahan tree, the Mike McDaniel tree, and what they know how to do is run the ball. And I think adding the versatility of Malik Willis being able to run is going to open up so many possibilities in the run game. And with Patrick Paul and Caden Proctor on the left side, 2'6'7" massive human beings, and Aaron Brewer down the middle, I
Hmm.
I see the excitement there. I don't think Bobby will be the coordinator next year, in my opinion. But again, it just depends. It depends what happens in the year. If they're able to have a successful year, of course he has to stay continuity. But I can see that going either way. Question for Jose:
Yeah.
if you had to put your money on it, does Malik Willis get a second contract, or are we drafting a quarterback in the next draft?
Both.
So you think that he does well and we draft a quarterback in the first round, or you think we're getting one later in the rounds?
One thing that we never did, Ale, especially, and this is obviously Chris Greer logic.
Give two a compensation.
Um, you never gave Tua competition.
Yeah.
And by competition, I mean I'm putting someone that in the day of tomorrow he outplays you in practice, you're benched. I don't care if you make $200 million.
Yeah.
These players need to understand that they need to go and fight for their starting role. Nothing is guaranteed, and that's a that's a byproduct of today's generation. It's not the players in particular. A lot of these players, they come out of high school, they come into college, and they're God's gift to humanity, bro. They're royalty, and they've always had it given to them. They've never had the competition to pretty much be benched. I mean, yeah, you could say Tua back in Alabama, he had Jalen Hurts, but even Jalen Hurts ended up leaving to go to Oklahoma. Um, that being said, if you tell me that we're sitting here and we just lost Jeremiah Smith, and you have, say, a John Mateer, Dante Moore, or so, obviously I'm just spitballing names here. I will park that man right next to him. Be like, show me you deserve this.
And listen, I'm not opposed to that because again, even John Eric Sullivan came out and said like we're willing to draft a quarterback every year or every other year. It just depends on the needs in the roster. Now,
Correct.
I'm a big Lenore Seller fan, so I'm debating on let's say we live in a world where we have the number one overall pick. And obviously, we have a whole college football season to go because two years ago, everyone was saying that this draft class was going to be amazing, and uh, Klubnik was supposed to be a first round pick, and he went in the seventh round, or I don't know, the sixth, fifth to the Chiefs.
I mean, Brendan Sorsby was supposed to be in the first round before he freaking
Yeah,
flopped.
so that's a whole nother. Okay, you
So
never
yeah,
happen. Um, are you guys Arch Manning fans? Do we see Arch
I
Manning
am.
to Miami?
Like Arch Manning, I do. Well, the thing is, Jose, so yeah, I know you mentioned the competition, and I do agree with that to an extent. But what if both of you guys actually here? What if Willis has like an all-star season where he's like, fifth and sixth in the league in passing yards? He's like having an unbelievable season. Do you still draft another quarterback, even though everyone already knows like, all right, this guy's like for real, he's our guy?
I
Do you
don't think
still
you
think?
can. I don't think you can, at least in the first round. Again, I'm still a believer in maybe getting one in the third or in the fourth round. Somebody with some high upside that maybe isn't ready to play right away, but you can start building because even if Malik Willis ends up getting a 5-year contract after that, you still have a good tradable asset, and that's important to remember. I don't know if wasting a first round pick when you already have a quarterback is the best
Yeah,
idea,
exactly. Yeah.
but I also,
Well,
Jose, I can see your side of it where it's like, okay, maybe he has a good year, but for example, like there's quarterbacks that have good years that maybe it's just a one and done. So I think it's going to take more than just the stats. I think it's the eye test is going to be important here. It's going to be
yes.
important. You have to see like, where are these throws that he's making? Are they perfect? Are they accurate? Or are some of the stats lucky? Or did this
Hmm.
help him? So I think it'll be a little bit more detail when it comes to that. But I think that's a great point because again, do you waste a first round pick when you have your quarterback?
Well, to add to Nick's question, look no further than Green Bay. They had an MVP quarterback, and they drafted Jordan Love.
Yeah, but close to well, maybe not close to retirement. I guess because he's not retired yet. But he had also,
Good point.
Jordan Love, he's sat there for more than 4 years.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that was weird though. I don't think any other team would have done that. I don't know
Well,
why they.
only the Packers do that.
They not that being said,
But to be fair, we
they
do.
had the luxury to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Why? Because they were for sure, okay, one day we're gonna be without this guy.
Yeah,
And that's another thing that I forgot to mention about drafting a high end quarterback. There is gonna be the day when Malik Willis is not here.
correct.
So
yes.
do you spend a first round pick on someone like that
To me,
and
to
have him sit for 4, 5 years?
to me, it's
He's
different
only
because
27. Too early.
Yeah, no, he's
yeah,
got a
I
Yeah.
think
long way ahead.
Malik Willis might be 24 or
No,
25.
no, he's definitely older than that.
Nah,
Twenty.
I
I'm
think
let me do,
he's like 20.
for those of you listening on Spotify, I'm doing a quick Google search real quick just to.
Well,
Oh, he
Jose,
is
we do. Well, Jose,
26,
we do also. We have Quinn Ewers in the building.
which I'm a fan of. There's a lot of reports from
I
TAs that he's
listen.
playing really well.
I do like Quinn. Um, but then again, and 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 yes, he's one of those that was drafted by Mike McDaniel, which we can say, okay, bring him over. He's a good leader. He plays decent quarterback.
He wasn't
I
bad.
mean,
I thought he was
he
fine. He
wasn't bad.
was a
I
grounder.
mean, they
Fine.
I think
yeah, he kind of
his ceiling is Nick Foles to me, or Case.
yeah,
But Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, so
and I hate that, bro, because he torched
yeah.
teams
Yeah.
in college.
Even
Like,
Sam Darnold, like Sam Darnold, and again, and maybe that's just the Jets' horrible juju. Or
dude, the Jets are just
Jets have
they're
Klubnik.
just an
I
atrocious.
think T. Klubnik for them will probably get a look. He's behind. I think Geno Smith starting for yeah. I think mid-season
Hmm.
Klubnik starting. I really do.
there could be a possibility there. I agree. I agree. Let's move on here to some camp competitions. There are a few spaces where I think there will be actual competition because sometimes people say there's competition, but like there's positions that are already taken. Unless they get injured or something crazy happens. Um, like most of the O line is set. I think besides maybe right guard, but I think Jonah has it. Um,
Yeah, I think Jonah
but
has
I
that.
think we have the most competition is wide receiver. We have a lot of wide receivers. We brought in Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell. We drafted Kevin
Hmm.
Coleman, Caleb Douglas. I think Chris Bell, when he gets healthy, is going to be a dog. But he might start the year on PUP. Um, I'm a big Malik Washington fan. I don't think he'll ever be a number one, but I feel like he can be a championship number three on a team.
I think he's a great three, man.
He's a great three. Where do you see this going? Where do you see the wide receiver competition going? Who do you think takes the top three spots?
Man, as far as the wide receiver competition is concerned, I think we're gonna see it's gonna be Jalen Tolbert at the one.
I
I do
agree.
not see Tutu Atwell taking
Me either.
any. As a matter of fact, I see Tutu Atwell as a cut candidate,
I
to
agree.
be brutally bold. Um, and at the two, I think we're gonna see Malik Washington till hopefully Chris Bell gets better.
Okay.
I'm hearing he's kind of gonna redshirt this season. Um, I think we have our future number one
Chris Bell.
in the premises already, which is why I'm if we miss out on Jeremiah Smith next year and Chris Bell ends up panning out,
Don't
I
nick that. Don't tell Nick that.
I would not be mad.
I know that.
Yeah, I mean you could still draft Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, I think you have
I
to.
will be very upset.
Especially-
I will
Hmm.
I would be very upset if Jeremiah Smith's not a Dolphin. That there's no outcome, there's no scenario where he is not on a Dolphins wearing a Dolphins.
Actually, I believe he probably is the missing piece that
Yeah,
that Malik Willis needs, man. I think so. I think he's got we have a pretty decent offensive line
we
if
do.
you
yeah,
really think
We
about it.
do.
They weren't bad last season. I I I hate that people love to pin the O line for Tua's mishaps. And dude, if you got 4 seconds to throw the ball, throw the damn ball.
no, the second part of the season, the offensive line did well, especially when we brought him
Yeah.
as the sixth offensive line, and we were just
Hmm.
using him as a fullback, using him as the sixth O line. So
Right.
I agree. Now keep an eye out on Kevin Coleman as our third receiver. I'm super high on the fifth round.
Yes. I forgot to mention Kevin Coleman, dude.
Very, very
Wow.
high on him. Nick, what
Very high, yes.
what do you think about the wide receivers? I know you mentioned earlier, obviously you wanted to bring in a Debo, which again I honestly would have enjoyed watching. I know Caleb Douglas got a lot of flack on getting drafted so high. But what do you think about the receivers?
Yeah, I mean it's a weak room, and similar to what Jose said, it's going to be Jalen Tolbert as the receiver one. I mean, there's no question. I think he had 700 yards last year with the Cowboys. Tutu Atwell, I think, is a relatively interesting guy. He's small. He would have been really good for McDaniel's offense, and I think
Hmm.
we're kind of running the same offense in a way because we have Slowick. Chris Bell as well. He's really good. He was a great pick. I was really happy about that. Caleb Douglas could be good if he's got to put more weight on, I think, and also he's just. I heard he drops the ball a lot.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
his hands.
Yeah, yeah. They have to bring in someone else. I do like that they brought in Jalen Rager. I think people are still kind of sleeping on that one a little bit. He might not make the team. He probably won't. But for
Probably won't.
former first rounder, I still think
Mm.
there's a little bit in the tank for him. So this is actually a really interesting opportunity for him. He has a chance to do that. But I would have been happy if they would have like. There was some receivers out there that they could have brought in that I feel like I'm having a brain fart here, but Atlanta brought in um, a receiver here, Jahan Dotson. I think he went.
Jahan Dodson. Yeah.
Would have been a really nice fit. And I wanted them to bring in somebody like that, somebody who's kind of underachieved, potential star, like has the making of being a star. Bring them in because we can use anybody at this point. Bring in a guy like that, to give them a chance, and that's why I like the Rager situation too. But Malik Washington as well. I know you're a big fan of him. I think he could be really good. I see him as a slot guy for us. Always a slot guy. I think he's a good gadget player at receiver.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be Tolbert. I think Atwell will start. It'll be Washington, Tolbert, Atwell. Coleman will get a lot of reps as well. Him and I feel like he'll go in a lot for Tutu because I don't think Tutu's going to be in game most of, like the whole game. Uh,
Hmm.
Caleb Douglas as well will probably develop him. Chris Bell probably play what like 5 or 6 games. He won't play that much, and if he does, it'll be limited snap count. But yeah, they really need a receiver, man, and that's why I want Jeremiah. But if they sign somebody to help Willis out, great. But at the same time, you don't want them to help too much, because then you don't want to start winning all these games because we essentially we do need to lose, and it's so hard to say that. Like I love the Dolphins. I watch every game, but uh, the only way to actually improve the roster is have to.
Right.
So I'll be rooting for them to win, but in the back of my mind, it's like I'm okay
If
if they
they
lose.
lose, it's not
Don't win enough.
Exactly.
the worst case
The
scenario.
world. Win-win for me.
Yeah. Also, Nick, I know you have a hard out because you have to go to the game. Until what time do we have you
No,
here?
you guys are good. I got another 30, 45 minutes.
Okay, perfect. We'll be done by then. Um, and Jose answered this one earlier, but is there a veteran that you think is maybe fighting for his roster spot? Somebody that we signed or a veteran that we have that might not be able to make it. I know Jose, you said Tutu might not make it to the end there. I think Lonnie Johnson Jr. m- for the safeties might not make it through. Obviously, I think Dante Trader Jr. has easily taken that safety spot. But I won't be surprised if they use Michael Taff back there again. It's
Hmm.
seasons where we're just trying to find what we have, and if
Yeah.
Johnson doesn't perform in training camp, I can see them just being like, hey, listen, let's just see what we got in this guy. He's undersized, but he's very smart. So hopefully something can come from that pick. I was a big fan of that pick. Do you have anybody, Nick, that you think might not make it through?
Um, maybe David Ajabo. I know we've added him. Uh,
Always injured.
he had only half it.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really play much. I don't know if he played a lot. Well, he did not have any sacks. Did he play a lot last year? Was he hurt last year?
Yeah, he was hurt
Um,
last.
Yeah.
okay, maybe him. Uche will probably stay. Um,
Josh Uche. Yeah.
Willie Gay will stay. Because he played tough for us last year. I wish he played more last year, actually. There's a kicking battle, I think. Riley Patterson and Zane Gonzalez. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I like Sanders a lot. I think he's on the Jets now, but
Hmm.
you just could not. You had to bring Patterson back. You at least give him a chance at the last season.
Yeah, he
I
balls.
think
I have to.
Patterson wins that because like
I agree.
Gonzalez has a better leg, but Patterson's more accurate. So it's interesting.
You
Um,
there, yeah.
I don't. This is tough because our roster is not great, so I feel like a lot of these guys can make it. But if I was going to choose anybody, one of those defensive ends, either Ush or Ojabo. One of those guys will probably get cut. I think they're not going to keep up.
Yeah, I can see Uche
Figure it
getting
out.
cut just for the simple fact that he's a very similar player to Chop. And I don't think either of them can set the edge. So maybe that can be a candidate there. Let's
I got a good one here for you,
go ahead.
Malik, and it's a little bold. It's another position battle that we have going on, and it's kind of under the radar. A lot of people don't talk about it. Tyrell Dodson
Okay.
and Jacob Rodriguez.
Okay. I see that.
I think, and it's hard, man, because they're both great.
He's the Mike.
They're both great, man. But they are they are set on Jacob Rodriguez eventually being the quarterback of that defense, and maybe not as a cut candidate because Tyrell Dodson's worth
Are
way
they
too
running a
much for that.
4-3? Because if so, then they'll have three linebackers. You could have Brooks and Dotson both start, and then Rodriguez.
I'm not sure. They're kind of running so the way Green Bay used to run it, um, they do the same with the whole like nickel cornerback, and that's why they drafted Chris Johnson because he can play the basically every defensive back position. Um, and I think we're running with two linebackers actually, not
Are they?
not
Okay.
three.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so you gotta figure out, are you gonna trade Tyrell Dodson and maybe get something back for him? The only one that's set there is Brooks. It's Jordan Brooks.
Maybe even the way they got Dotson, they claimed him from Seattle.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which
I
which they also I
I
remember
love all three of them, man. That's the crazy part.
when we got Jordan Brooks, we also it wasn't a trade, but it was like we got Jordan Brooks, they took Jerome Baker.
This is free agency,
We yeah,
basically.
yeah, we signed Jordan Brooks and then Seattle signed Jerome Baker, which it wasn't a trade, but it was just a swapsies. And
Hmm.
obviously we won big on that one. I am curious to see if he gets his contract before the start of the year. I think they're lowballing
I
him.
think he will. I
Um,
think he will, man. I think a little too we're a little too backed up on the cap situation right now, and he understands. Um, I think before the end of the season, something gets worked out.
so let's do some predictions here. Let's talk about the ceiling first. How many wins do you think the ceiling, like, if everything goes right, how many wins do you think we can get? In my opinion, if everything goes absolutely perfect, we get 8 wins. And
Oh,
that's if everything goes perfect. And what I mean by perfect is Jeff Hafley is able to coach up Chop Robinson and Jonah Savanaya and Jordan and Kenneth Grant and all the players that he's getting in his second year, plus hitting on all his draft picks and Malik Willis having an incredible year. I'm talking about absolute perfect ceiling. I don't think they can get more than 8 wins. Nick, you made a reaction, so I'm curious what your ceiling is.
six.
Six.
Six,
Okay.
uh, six is our most, I think. That is the absolute best I think we can do. I had us actually going 5 wins this season.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
I like the optimism with eight, and I guess Jose was correct. You do have a lot of optimism, which is good. I I'm an optimistic guy as well, and 8 win. I see what you're saying with that. Halfley does a great job leading our guys. Willis has the season we all think he's gonna have. I see what you're saying. I just don't think they're gonna. They got a tough schedule, man. They got a
Yeah.
really tough schedule, and I just think that the best they can really do is six, absolute best. I think they win 5 to 4 games. I think the worst they do is win 2 games, and that's against the Raiders week one, and then it's the Jets one time. So
Okay.
that's the worst they can do. But
And
realistically, five wins, I think is the best they can do. Um, Next year they'll be better. Next year they'll be better, but I think next year they can get 8 or 9. But yeah, five for me.
okay, and listen, we like disagreements here in this podcast. It makes for good TV. I mean, my floor is like you said, maybe 2 wins. Again, one against the Jets, once against the Raiders, and that's pretty as bad as that's as bad as it can get. And that'll guarantee you Jeremiah Smith. But if we only get 2 wins, I mean, we might be getting a quarterback, so we'll see. Jose, what's your
Hmm.
ceiling and your floor?
So MGM has us at 4.5 wins for this season. I I gotta go with Nick, man, and 5 at most. I just don't see this team having the talent to get 8 wins. There's way too many guys on 1 year contracts. There's just too many fillers out here
I agree.
to really sit back and say, okay, we have a core that'll get us to 1 game under 500 or 1 game over 500. Uh, the floor, like you said, probably 2. And if we do hit our floor, we're drafting first overall. End of story. Um, I'm gonna have to go with 5, man. I think 5 is the ceiling for this team. Maybe 6, like Nick said. Um, and even with Malik Willis back there, I just don't think we have enough.
Yeah.
We're hungry, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We are.
a lot of
Like
players up there.
and them getting 5 wins does not mean that they're not winners. Yeah, I want
Close games, but they're just not going to win.
yes.
Yeah.
As long as you see that, okay, 5, but we fought
Exactly.
every single game. Hey,
It's a moral win.
I'll see it. I'll see it as moral win.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll take the fight. We'll take the fight. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree because I think to me what this season is about is seeing the development of the players. I want the rookies to be way better at the end of the season than they are at the beginning of the season. And
Hmm.
also, coaching decisions. Like I want to see how Jeff Hafley plays his challenges. Does he call timeouts at the right time? You know, all the little things that the average fan isn't paying attention to. Like that's what I'm looking for to see if we have a guy. And if he's also making
Yeah.
improvements from the beginning of the year to the end of the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
We're going to do here some one realistic prediction, one hot take, and one crazy prediction. Okay, so a realistic prediction, I think we all kind of shared like, hey, we all think they're probably gonna live around that 5 wins. You know,
Yeah.
again, they have a possibility of doing
Yeah.
less, but that's pretty much what we're thinking. My hot take is I think Devon Achan gets close to 1,600 yards rushing. I think all we're gonna do is run. I think Malik Willis is gonna open it up for him. I don't know if it's that much of a hot take. I mean, that's the most amount of yards he's ever ran for, so I'm assuming it's gonna be a hot take. At least it is for me. I do think that Malik Willis might take some of his yards, but not many. And
Hmm.
I don't see Ollie Gordon or Jalen Wright really doing much other than short yardage running unless he gets injured. So I would say 1,600 yards for Devon Achan. Nick, give me a hot take. I know I put you on the spot, so take your
Yeah.
time.
Um, I think I like Ollie Gordon a lot. To be fair, I think he's really good. I think he should get the. I think he should be our third down back easily.
Agree.
Um, with Achan, going back to what you said, I think he doesn't have as good as a year as he had in the past. I think he's going to be overfed, and they're going to start stacking the box against him.
Hmm.
I think he barely gets to 1,000 yards this year rushing. I just don't. I just think that they're going to be so keyed in on him. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bold prediction. I have two in a way, if I could say that.
Yeah,
Um, I would say Achan has a down year. I think that everyone's gonna be so keyed in on defense. I actually think the opposite of what you said, Ali. I think I see that to probably give him the ball to play. That's not gonna
Yeah.
necessarily be a good thing. So they're gonna be prepped for it. So I think Devon Achan actually has a down year. Also after getting his contract, he's taking his foot off the gas a bit. So I'm saying he has a bit of a down year. He still gets to 1,000, but not as good as he was before. And well, another one, I have Chop Robinson getting double-digit sacks this year.
Hmm.
to my
I
ears,
think
man.
he
Oh my God,
Yes.
back
Yes.
time after last season.
I like that. Jose, give me a hot take.
Oof. Those who know me in fantasy football know that I'm so far off from Devon Achan this year. I think he's gonna get hurt.
Gonna say that. I just didn't want
As
to say that.
as 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 much as that sounds like freaking vinegar and poison coming out of my mouth, I think he's gonna get hurt. I think we're gonna overwork him to the point where he sustains a pretty severe injury.
Damn, that sucks.
Which, and we already did that last year, and he did get hurt for like 1 or 2 games.
He did.
Um, I don't even think he touches 1,000 yards this season. I'll be brutally honest.
Okay. Is that the bold?
That's the bold one. I also have two. I think our defense is a lot better than people think.
Yeah, I agree.
So ESPN rankings, you're gonna laugh. ESPN rankings for fantasy has the Dolphins ranked as the number 32 defense in the NFL. Dead last.
I expect that.
I don't agree with
I
that.
don't think we're that bad.
No, I don't either.
If there's a strong point in this team, it's probably the offensive line and the defense. And I think Chop Robinson's going to have a breakout season.
Me
Really?
too.
Just to pivot off of what
I
Nick said.
think Kenneth Grant as well has stepped up this year.
And I think Kenneth Grant is going to solidify himself as the
He has to. This is
overall
last-
number one defensive tackle in that
his
team.
last chance.
Next to Zach Sealer.
And the old front office drafted him, so this isn't the new front office's guy. So he's got to prove himself.
But they kept him.
Sure did.
Well, I mean, I think they kind of had to, but I also think that especially O-line and D-line, they take a little longer to develop as well as
Yes, they do.
just because again, you're dealing with grown men now, and it's so physical. So I do think that takes a little time. I'm completely on the opposite. I think the offense is going to do way better than the defense this year. I do hope that because of Jeff Hafley, the defense overperforms, but I just don't see it. We're gonna finish off here with talking about the rookie class and just giving the rookie that you think is going to make the most impact on the team. Obviously, you got your top three guys: Caden Proctor, Chris Johnson, and Jacob Rodriguez. Maybe what's his name from Pitt? Lewis Moore, Trey? No.
Kyle Lewis.
Kyle Lewis. He's also a super underrated pick. But I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna go with our number one pick, man. Even though I love Chris Johnson, I think Caden Proctor is gonna make the biggest impact just because he's gonna be the one rookie that's gonna play every single down. Especially on offense, they don't interchange O linemen. And again, this year is gonna be really big on the run game. And I see him maybe in the beginning of the year, maybe struggling a little bit, just getting used to it, especially since he's going into left guard. But I just see him and Patrick Paul. Having Patrick Paul and Aaron Brewer in between him is going to give him a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of room to make mistakes and still be able to recover. So I think Caden Proctor is going to be our most impactful rookie. Who do you guys got? It could be the same player as well.
Go
ahead, Nick.
Yeah. I'll go with Chris Johnson. I think it's a position that we're lacking as corner. I think he's gonna make a lot. He's not gonna be like the highlight corner. He's gonna be sticky, and people aren't gonna really talk about him because he's gonna be doing so good in coverage, and that's a good thing. My thing is if you're not talking about a corner, they're good.
Yep.
So don't even know they're on the field. So him and Kyle Lewis as well. He's playing a position that is very, very crowded at the moment at linebacker, but he can also play safety. So you can move him around. He's gonna make a little Swiss Army knife, kind of like a Minkah Fitzpatrick kind of guy.
Yeah.
I like Lewis a lot. I really did out of Pittsburgh. I thought he was a really good pick, and that was one of my favorite picks in the whole draft. Jacob Rodriguez is somebody as well, but I think he is going to have a monster year next season. I think this season is going to be good. He'll be good this year.
Yeah.
He'll be learning from Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson, but I think next year is going to be his big year. But I would say for this year, I would say Chris Johnson is going to be our quote unquote best player on defense. I think he's going to be sticky. He's going to do a good job.
I agree. Jose.
If we look back to Green Bay, they're really good at drafting tight ends.
Okay.
Tucker Kraft. Look no further. Tucker Kraft came out of college, bro. He was kind of under the radar. Not a very high draft pick either. Blocking tight end as well. But the guy had a very good talent of just bullying his way and creating separation. And then on top of that, he has really good hands. I think, man, I think I think Will Kazmarik's about to shock us, dude.
I
I
hope
think he's a great blocking tight end,
that for sure. That for sure.
and oh yeah, and then Greg Dulcich not being too reliable injury wise.
Oh, shit. So I think he'd be pretty good.
I like him. I like him, but he's got an injury problem.
In Denver, yeah,
Um,
he had injuries.
he had injuries in Denver, and when he got here, he was still injured. Um, I think eventually Will Kazmarek takes that job.
Okay.
I think so.
I think he
And
said like, "Oh, I didn't get the ball much, but when I did, I caught it." Yeah, it's like,
Hmm.
really,
yeah,
Yeah,
and again, when I believe you play
and that's all you need from a tight end, man.
when you play in a big program like that, they have so many good receivers that I get it.
yeah, that's right. Got a crowd.
As an inline blocker, that guy to me he was the best one in the draft, and
Oh yeah.
just an animal. So I think there's going to be opportunities for him. I'm hoping they all play well. They all develop, and this year is going to look on. It's gonna be a happier year. I think I've never been more excited for the preseason in my life than this year, just because we have so many players who are young that are going to be playing, and it's gonna be exciting to watch. Definitely gonna make it out to some preseason games this year, or I think we only have. I don't know if we have one or two this year, in Hard Rock, but anyways, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys logging on. It was great talking some Dolphins, guys. If you guys like the channel, please like, subscribe. We are now the official owners of CertifiedCasuals.com, so you can look at the website. All the links are on there, and we appreciate you guys logging on.